Back with you again. Sorry, I've been out for a bit. Just been busy, and then got sick again. Because I was hanging with family. My little nephew had the little flu, and then now I've got it too. Not fun at all, but I'll be okay. Well, so before I get started, there's gonna be some profanity in the video. If you have children in the room, put your headphones on or pause the video. Now that you've unpaused, let's get started. Well, some of you are wondering who is this guy? It's Don Lemon. Usually I would have called him Don Lemon, but he said something that made me say, well, he earned a slightest bit of my respect, but I'm still pissed off with him how he has shitted on the black community, thrown the black community under the bus, especially ever since Trayvon Martin, and what happened with the murder and the injustice of Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. So yeah, I still got my fuck you for him, and shout out to Tony Rain for even doing a video about this. So I'm gonna talk about it too. So I can't go on too long on the article, but I will post the article below. But I'll show a video clip of something that he said that made my mouth drop. As you can see here. Let's get started. Let's see what he's got to say.
Cover it because we were distracted by another extremist that was doing bad things in the name of hate.
Yeah, and then now another one. And you have all of them in a row. And, we messaged about this a little bit this weekend. I keep trying to point out to people not to demonize any one group or any one ethnicity, but we keep thinking that the biggest terror threat is something else. Some people who are marching, towards the border like it's imminent. And when the last time they did this, a couple hundred people came and they, most of them did get into the country. Most of them got tuckered out before they even made it to the border. So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right. And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they have the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that? So, and first of all, let me just say this. Maurice Stollard is the name, and Vicky Jones, and they have been lost in all of this. Two people who were killed on Wednesday that you talked about. They have been lost about this, and I know that people feel that this story has not gotten enough coverage, and we will honor them tonight in our program. But go on, Chris, sorry.
Good. No. I'm going to do it in the closing. You're making the right point. You're covering the right story, and I appreciate you for that. Cover
Okay. So what happened?
Cover it because we were distracted by another extremist that was doing bad things in the name of hate.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just refresh the page.
You have all of them in a row. And
okay. So yeah. As you can see, I'll post a link to the article so you can read more detail. The conversation started because people talked about the terrorist wannabe Ted Kavinsky Neanderthal called Caesar Sayok. I know people are saying like, "Where he's not white," he's will try to be a $5 Indian, but turn out he's Italian and Filipino. But still doesn't exempt the fact he was still fucking anti-black and he's still a fucking terrorist. So fuck that dude because he was nothing but a wannabe white supremacist. So he was like your George Zimmerman types, which are still pieces of shit. So fuck that dude, and he needs to be had his feet held to the fire. And they mainly talked about right here, this Neanderthal terrorist by the name of Robert Bauer. Robert Bauer or Bowers, whatever it is, the one who went and did a terrorist attack at a synagogue that and 11 people were murdered. But the thing is, though, they did like the mainstream media did not talk about, and thanks to backlash, they had no choice but to talk about it. Was this Neanderthal terrorist who committed a crime? I think this was before the synagogue murder, and I think it was even before. I think it was like either a day after or a day before they caught Caesar Sayok. He was gonna try and pull a Dylan fucking Roof at a church, but but the doors were fortunately locked. But he went to a Kroger and he murdered two black people just for being black. And then like he ran to this one white person, even one of the witnesses, he said came up to him and told him, whites don't kill whites. And even when the guy was telling the news reporter that, I guess the news reporter wanted to try and rebut it, but obviously you could see the witness was very dead serious that this is what this demon said. What, like, so in turns out he was nothing but a fucking white supremacist. And then I know some dumbasses are gonna be like, but he had a black wife, a black kid. That didn't exempt him. He abused his black wife, and he called her the fucking N word and a bitch, and an N word bitch, and everything horrible under the sun. That doesn't exempt him. Heck, take David Duke, Donald Tokowitz, Sterling, for example. Like I said, just because you get married or have well, just because you marry a black person and have kids, that doesn't exempt you from being a fucking white supremacist. And take the slave masters, for example, that raped black women and popped out that had, and sadly, that had the children who were a result of her fucking rape. Them so-called biracials, which are still black. But yeah, go fucking figure. So mainstream try to like basically minimize the story, especially the victims. Here's the victims right here. We're black. And of course and of course people were outraged, especially the black community, because I mean they tried to downplay and minimize what this demon did. He was nothing but a blatant white supremacist, you know, and had to take fucking outrage to let the mainstream media know, because even that's what got Don Lemon and them talking about this shit. So it's kind of like, well, and then now with the Caesar Psyop, more stuff's coming about this fucking demon, about this demon right here, that he has a history of going around threatening black people, and especially on Twitter. There was this one woman, I forgot her name, but I will post a link below that, he threatened her. And then, of course, Twitter made a bullshit excuse because they thought it was cute and funny when black people weren't getting threatened and terrorized by white supremacists. But now that he was arrested and caught and exposed, the woman who was threatened, stalked, and harassed by this same fucking demon put Twitter on blast and told him, hey, remember that time, like, you dismissed that this demon fucking threatened me? And you said it didn't violate your quote-unquote policies or whatever, or your rules. Of course, Twitter had no choice but to issue an apology. But I was like, fuck your apology. You know what? That's the thing. Like, people think like when black people say something, it falls on deaf ears. But when shit happens, especially like there's a lot of shit that's going on that black people are not surprised, because we warned about this shit. Heck, even Malcolm X warned about this, like from Elijah Muhammad, from Marcus Garvey, Medgar Evers, MLK, and a bunch of brothers throughout history have warned about these terrorists. But no, it just fell on deaf ears. But now that the same the demons that you've created to attack us are now turning against you. Now it's funny now you all outraged and upset. And then when we tell you we told you so, I know you guys get mad, but you can't say fucking shit, because we did. And I will say this to Don Lemon, even though I cannot stand his ass, but this is the only one time I will give him credit for saying this. And and of course he's getting backlash, and he said he's not going to apologize, especially now, as you see in this picture right here. He did a second segment talking about this. And another thing, Don Lemon, you forgot to add, it's not just the white supremacist males that we got to worry about. That, like you got to remember, white women have been very, like, these white supremacists, they have been very complicit. They are an accomplice in white supremacy and anti-black racism. There's even cases, that white women even were accomplices in these terrorist attacks. Like, remember Wade Michael Page, the one that shot up the Sikh temple in Wisconsin? Yeah, I remember. Like, of course, he's dead, but his girlfriend, she's still catching hell, still facing charges because she supplied the demon with the weapons. Yeah, because it applied. That's the thing. That's one thing people like they think like, oh, white women are innocent. No, they're not. And let's not forget Carolyn Bryant. Let's not forget, like, yeah, they're just as equally guilty. They're just as equally guilty. Just don't forget that. Just thought I'd give you a little quick reminder, okay? Yeah. Alrighty. So just comment and subscribe. I will put the link below so you can give me your 2 cents. Yeah, and then there was a little saying that Tony Rain did say that was on point, including Mr. Boy said this before. A broken clock is always right twice.